to the launch of the World Travel Market 2012 Industry Report. This report is unique as World Travel Market has polled its exhibitors and key buyers from its Meridian Club. More than 1,300 people have taken part in the survey, so offering a true reflection of the opinions of the most senior executives in the travel and tourism industry. The report's findings and conclusions genuinely reflect the fears and opportunities facing the industry and will no doubt mirror the conversations had on the exhibition floor throughout the next 4 days. Furthermore, these findings are also supported by the result of a survey of 1,001 UK holidaymakers, all of whom have taken a holiday this year. So the World Travel Market 2012 Industry Report reflects, compares and contrasts the thoughts of both holidaymakers and the industry. The first chapter of the report looks at the Olympics and its impact on the travel and tourism industries of those cities and countries that host it. The report begins by looking at the impact hosting the 2012 Olympics will have on London and the UK. 8 out of 10 of the senior industry professionals polled say the London Olympics will have a positive effect on the city's tourism. 6 out of 10 holidaymakers agree. Almost 2/3 of the industry agree that the UK will benefit from the 2012 Olympics, with 1 in 2 holidaymakers agreeing. 71% of the industry believe Rio will see an increase in tourism in the 4 years leading up to the 2016 Games because of the event's profile and how it's going to reflect on the city. A massive 82% of the industry believe this Olympic bounce will continue both during and after the Games. Almost 2/3 of the industry say that Brazil as a whole will benefit from an influx in tourists in the run-up to Rio 2016. The travel industry feels London's tourism industry had a successful Games, with almost 3/4, 74%, predicting an increase in visitors during the Games, with a third, 33%, predicting an increase of more than 20%. 7 out of 10 UK holidaymakers agree that the 2012 London Games had a positive impact on the city. It must be noted, however, that this contradicts figures from the UK's government's Office for National Statistics. Its findings highlight a dip of 5% in visitors during August this year, although spend was up 9% for the month. The second chapter of the report looks at taxation affecting the global travel and tourism industry. Taxation has, perhaps predictably, featured in all 3 World Travel Market Industry reports to date, and, as in previous years, there are some interesting findings. A massive 97% of the trade say taxation is a concern, with 6 out of 10 saying it's having the greatest negative impact on the industry. Furthermore, 3/4 of the industry believe their government sees tourism as an easy target for extra and increased taxation, with 39% expecting that less than half of the revenue raised will be reinvested in the industry. Worryingly, 76% believe national governments will introduce more or higher taxes which impact the industry, while 2/3 expect local governments to do the same. UK air passenger duty is possibly the most controversial of all the taxes on the industry. Introduced in 1994 with a £5 rate for UK and EU travel and £10 for everywhere else, the highest rate currently stands at £184 and will increase to £188 next April. Next April's increase in APD is expected to have a major impact on the holidays taken by UK travellers. 36% of the industry believe fewer long-haul holidays will be taken. 19% say that fewer holidays will be taken because of the increased cost. More than half of holidaymakers say that they will change their holiday plans because of next year's tax increase, with 1 in 5 taking fewer holidays, 26% only taking short-haul breaks, and 5% holidaying in the UK. The impact on inbound travel to the UK is just as worrying. The industry fears that the APD increase will burst the bubble created by the London 2012 Olympics. A massive 84% of the industry believes that fewer overseas tourists will visit the UK following the tax increase. Inbound tourists to the UK pay the tax on their outbound flight. Even more worrying is the massive 84% that believe fewer tourists from the key emerging travel markets of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa will visit the UK next summer due to the APD increase. Brazil and India are the two markets the industry fears will be most impacted. China is the UK's target market for inbound tourists, and 16% of the industry believe Chinese tourists will be most impacted by the increase in APD next April. The third chapter of the report looks at the world's emerging travel and tourism markets. The BRICS markets of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa are the key emerging markets in the travel and tourism industry. This has been the case in all three of the World Travel Market Industry reports. Almost two-thirds of the industry have changed or are planning to adapt their business models to take advantage of the opportunities in the BRICS nations. This includes more than a quarter, 27%, that have already done so. Interestingly, China is the most important market of the BRICS for both inbound and outbound tourism from the country. For outbound tourism from the BRICS countries, more than half ranked China as either the most important or the second most important market of the five. Russia came in second with 48% of the top two places, equally split at 24%. Brazil had 22% ranking it the most important market, with 15% putting it second. India had 15% and 21% respectively. And South Africa was the most important, according to 14% of respondents, and second most important to 12%. For inbound tourism to the BRICS countries, more than half again voted China as the most or second most important market. China is actually some way ahead of the other BRICS nations, with Brazil coming in second, followed by Russia, India, and then South Africa. Last year's industry report introduced the acronym SLIMMER, highlighting Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Malaysia, Mexico and Argentina as the second tier of emerging nations for travel and tourism behind the BRICS. The trade was again asked to rank all the emerging nations, and the slimmer nations again came out as the second most important group of nations for the industry behind the BRICS. And this year's report highlights a third tier of emerging powerhouses to keep an eye on. Dubbed the Tuscans, the countries are Thailand, United Arab Emirates, Chile, South Korea, Kenya, Nigeria, and Singapore. The industry was specifically asked its thoughts on Libya's tourism potential following the collapse of Colonel Gaddafi's regime last year. Libya is exhibiting at WTM for the first time since the revolution, and more than a third felt the country, which has more than 1,800 kilometres of coastline, has tourism potential in the near future. A further 56% feel it has potential for the future, citing political instability and the need for more tourism infrastructure as reasons that may delay this potential. The fourth chapter looks at the current debate over airport capacity in South East England, with 53% of the industry and 47% of UK holidaymakers agreeing that there is a need to increase it. The UK government is consulting on the issue, but a decision has been put on hold until after the next election in 2015. A key debate, as I'm sure you're aware, centres on the best solution for expansion. Both the industry and UK holidaymakers opt for a third runway at Heathrow Airport as the preferred solution, with more than one-third of the industry and 28% of UK holidaymakers supporting that option. The construction of a new airport has generated much publicity, with London Mayor Boris Johnson championing a new airport in Kent, dubbed Boris Island. A quarter of UK holidaymakers support this option, as does a fifth of the industry. The industry's second choice option is to expand at existing South East England airports, with almost a quarter backing this move. This option could come to fruition with Gatwick Airport investigating the introduction of a second runway from 2019. The industry support for this move was to make the best use of existing infrastructure. And the final chapter of the report focuses on UK holidaymakers and their travelling habits. Interestingly, UK holidaymakers will take more holidays in 2012 than they have in the past 3 years, which may indicate a return of UK consumer confidence following the global financial downturn. Over half of UK holidaymakers will take more than one holiday this year, which compares to 41% in 2011 and only 24% in 2010. And a third of these took 2 holidays in 2012, compared to 28% in 2011. The internet is commonly used on holiday, as UK holidaymakers want to keep up with what's going on at home. 6 out of 10 people use the web when they're on holiday, with 41% using the internet for between 30 minutes and more than 3 hours a day. 86% go online to check personal email, while 47% are on social media and 15% on work email. Finally, UK holidaymakers love to take a piece of home away with them, with 3 out of 10 people packing tea bags, 20% of people packing supplements, including vitamins and protein shakes. Other items taken include a picture of a loved one not on holiday with them, condiments, including red and brown sauce, marmalade and jam, and 4% of people pack a picture of a pet and their teddy bear. Well, that just about concludes the presentation of the World Travel Market Report 2012, and I'd like to now introduce World Travel Market Chairman Fiona Geoffrey, who's going to come and take some questions from the floor. So if you would like to ask Fiona a question, please raise your hand, and there are some people with roving microphones. If you would kindly wait until the microphone gets to you so that we'll be able to hear you, that would be great. Thank you. So please welcome Fiona.